Okay, so good morning. I'm going to walk through today how I use AI to help me stay on top of things in grad school with my reading. Let me get a little bit, ooh, that's too much, but a little bit of light in here. Okay, so AI in school is iffy. Professors are iffy. Nobody really knows what to do because it can be really, really helpful. It can do a ton of great things for you. It can make life a lot easier for grad students and actually all students. But there is still some cloudiness around what's okay, what's not okay, what's considered plagiarism, and what isn't. There was a time when, for example, when Microsoft Word first introduced spell check, it was like, oh, is this, this is cheating. This is cheating because if you use spell check to correct your spelling and you turn it in, this is not like an accurate representation of your academic ability, right? Your ability to spell, because you've gotten help. And eventually people calmed down, and then they did the grammar stuff and people were in a frenzy, and then eventually people calmed down. And so now people are having those same questions and issues with AI. And then where's the line, right? What turns it from I'm getting help, just like I would at a writing center or a tutoring center, versus I'm cheating and I'm plagiarizing? And people are still unsure about it. Even the professors are unsure about it. They're unsure what to allow and what not, or what to allow and what not to allow, right? And so what I do is just make sure that I stay completely away from any areas that are gray. So I do not have AI write papers for me, write paragraphs for me, write discussion posts for me. I don't have it write anything for me, but I have it do a lot of legwork for me in advance so that I have what I need in order to start my writing. And then I will provide it with my writing and say, here is a paper I have written, so that it can learn my tone of voice and get to know me as a writer. And then I can say, this paragraph, for example, I might say, this paragraph that I wrote is 500 words. I need it to be 300 words. Can you help me reduce it? And that's not any different than I could do at the writing center at my university. Say, this paragraph is really long, can you help me reduce it? And they will help you find sentences you could remove, or areas where you might have said the same thing twice in a little bit of a different way, but it's a little bit redundant and you don't need it. The tutors at the writing center will do that, and AI can also do that. And there's not really a difference between those two things. You're still getting help, and it's still my writing, but I'm condensing it down and getting like a shorter paraphrase. And so I don't have a moral or an ethical issue getting AI's help with things like that. If it is the same concept as what I would be receiving at the tutoring center or writing center at my university, then that's the same level of help that I would be getting, and I feel comfortable staying right there. I will not go past that, just like you wouldn't go to the writing center and say, can you write a paragraph for me that sounds like this? I don't cross that line. My academic standing is too important to me. I want to actually get out of my education what I'm paying for. So, but anyway, so it's a little bit iffy and people are unsure where the line is. And so I want to walk you through one of the things that I do pretty regularly is I have AI generate summaries for me of the paragraphs in my text, or of the chapters in my textbooks, and condense that information for me, and then help me construct, let's say for example, I'm going to write a discussion post about 2 chapters in a textbook. I have a discussion post where I have to talk about the information over 2 chapters in a book. As most of you will know if you're students, the amount of time that it actually requires to read every word in every book that's assigned to you is more than the time you actually have to get through college. If you actually read every word in every textbook, you would not make it through. If you have anything else going on in your life, if you have a job or social obligations or anything like that, it would be impossible. College would have to be your only full-time job, your only responsibility, in order to devote all of that time to reading. And so what most people do, especially by the time you get to grad school, is you're scanning, you're skimming, you're reading just the highlights. And this is why every textbook has a big summary at the end of every chapter, so you get the main ideas. And then when it comes time to do your assignments, then you'll go back and read in depth the parts that really, really matter for the assignments. I try my best to read every word of every textbook. It takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to read a standard kind of a graduate level textbook chapter. And I have found that's pretty average over my college experience. An hour and a half is a good average. Some are way less and some are way more. It depends on what your classes are. So I try really hard to read every word in every chapter, but I can't possibly and still survive and have any semblance of a life. You just really can't. Especially the farther you go, the more outside reading they're expecting you to do. So it's not just this chapter in a textbook you have to read. You also maybe have 1 or 2 separate novels or nonfiction books that are actual books that you have to read. You'll have research articles that you then have to read, and generally I'm reading 20 to 40 research articles a week, and those take time, and those you really do have to read, although there are AI tips for that too if you really, like, it's crunch time and you really need it. Ideally, you're reading research articles yourself. At a minimum, you're reading the lit review and the discussion yourself. So anyway, let's walk through one of the ways that I use AI. I will start by saying this is not a free platform. What I use is not free. It costs me $20 a month. For me, that is entirely worth it. There are a lot of things I don't have to pay for because I have this, and it makes my life a million times easier. It saves me so much time. So this is not free. I'm not being paid by these folks. I'm not being compensated in any way by these people. Just this is the platform I use because I love it, and it gives me, I pay $20 a month, and for my $20 I get the platform. This is the platform that I use, and it connects to the most recent kind of highest performing version of ChatGPT. So it's not just ChatGPT, but ChatGPT Fancy is included when you pay for this. You get both. And if I remember correctly, I used to actually pay for ChatGPT Fancy, and it cost about the same. So for that same amount of money, if I go through this platform, I get access to that, and I get all of the benefits that this platform provides. So I'm going to walk through what this is. So I'm actually just going to click it in my thing, but this is it up here, myaidrive.com. So let's just go to the main website here so you can see what that looks like. Oh, it's going to automatically take me here because I'm logged in. All right, let me see if I can log out so that you can see what it's going to look like. All right, here we go. myaidrive.com. You're going to just make a login, right? Sign up, and it is free. There's a free version of this. You get a lot more features with the paid version. So if you want to start with the free version, go for it, but some of the things I'm going to show you today are probably not available in the free version. I'm going to go ahead and log back in, and there we go. Oh, great news. We have cut the cost of GPT-4 to 10 and Gemini 1.5 Flash to 0.5 credits per page. When providers cut the cost, we pass those savings on to, oh, that's nice. That's wonderful. Look at that little thing that they gave me. All right. So this is mine right now. This is what I'm working with. Down here, these bottom files are generally textbooks that I have got in PDF format and uploaded. If you are able to get your textbooks in PDF format, that makes this a million times easier. So try to find a way to do that if you can. And if you're wondering how to do it, I guess put a comment in the comment section and I'll see if I can show you how I get mine. Okay. And then these are folders that I've made with different topics that I'm doing research on. One of my textbooks is in its folder. So this is actually a class I'm in, family counseling. This is where we're going to start today. And so in that folder, which is a topic, I also have my textbook in here right here, which is my family therapy textbook. And you'll see this as Chapter 5 summary, and that's what we're going to look at today. How to take a PDF copy of your textbook, pull from it a summary of a chapter. In fact, we're going to do 2 chapters. We're going to have AI help us summarize those. Turn those summaries back into PDFs, put those PDFs back into here, and then get what we need to do our assignment based on those chapters from those summaries. And the reason we are going to do it that way is because while this is amazing, the software is amazing, it has a hard time. So this textbook is 523 pages, and it has a hard time parsing through that many pages all at one time. Even if you tell it, and you'll see this in a moment, do these pages specifically, from this page to this page, and pull me a summary. There's a limit on how many pages it can read and summarize at one time. And sometimes the chapters are longer than that. And so I'll just show you what we do. So I've already got Chapter 5 done. We're going to do Chapter 6 together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and just mouse over this and hit copy link to clipboard. What I'm doing is I'm copying the link that opens this PDF file. I'm going to just click on that. I'll walk you through this whole software in another video if you want. And then over here, I think this gives you the same thing, but there we go, copy to ChatGPT. That's actually what I want to do. But right up here is where I end up doing this. So it says AI PDF GPT. This is going to take me to ChatGPT, and it's going to open it up with my AI PDF thing. So I'm actually not going to do that yet. I want to just open ChatGPT, and that's chat.openai.com. If you've never used it, you'll have to create an account, chat.openai.com. And let me log out so we can see what that looks like. There we go. And so if you don't have an account, you're going to need to sign up. It's free to sign up for a basic account. You won't have to pay for anything. Let me log back in. And I'm connected with Google. All right. And so over here, you'll see different chats that I've already had with ChatGPT. And up here, you'll see that ChatGPT, if I click here, I'm getting ChatGPT standard, which is what it's on right now. And this up here tells me I'm on the fancy one, 4.0. This is a little bit faster, but it's less beefy, less robust in what it can do. And then the legacy model, I think, is the one that is not connected to the internet. It has access to information up to maybe 2021 or 2022, something like that. And so it's not going to be the most up-to-date information, and it has a tendency to make stuff up if it doesn't know the answer. And so if you say, give me 3 research articles about such and such topic, it will give you the names of some articles. It'll give you a full like APA 7 reference for those articles, and those articles may or may not exist in real life. And so you just have to be careful. Always, always do your legwork. If it gives you a list of resources, go find them and make sure they actually exist and read through them yourself. All right, and so, but I'm gonna keep it here, and because this is the reason that this is turned on is because I'm subscribed to this and it gives me access to this. Okay, so that's already turned on. However, for what we're gonna do, I want to click here because this is the GPT version that is connected to all my documents over here. And so this is where, so it gives you even some options here, right? I want lots of files in a Pro Tool. This is where they're going to try to hook you in paying the money. How is this different from normal GPT? You can ask it that. How to upload a file. If you click here, it's going to give you the instructions for how to put your files over here. So go ahead and do that if you need to. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just flip back over here, and remember, here's our textbook. I'm going to copy the link again, come back over here, and I'm just going to paste that link right into my little chat thing down here, and then give it the link. And it's going to ask me, do I want a summary or do I want something specific? If you are really, really kind of fancy and organized and you want this to be super easy to read later and to come back to, over here on the left where it lists out, I've got most of my things archived. I have a couple still open here because I work with them frequently. Those are from last year, see, 2023. In my last 7 days, this I've done, and this I've done, and this is, both of these are today. So you see that it automatically filled in a title, summary request for a document, because it thinks I'm going to ask for a summary of something. And that's the question it always asks at first. Do you want a summary? Today I happen to want a summary, yes, but not of the whole thing. So I'm going to modify what I'm asking it. But first I'm going to come over here and just rename this. And this is going to be Family Therapy Chapter 6 Summary. Okay. Actually, if I'm only going to get to see that much of it, let me do this. Let me flip that around. Did I misspell therapy? Did I put an S in therapy? No. Okay. Chapter 6 Summary, Family Therapy. All right, so here we go. Another thing I need to do is find out exactly which pages Chapter 6 is on. Sometimes it can be really smart, so let's find out. Which pages of this document, and I'd say document instead of textbook because that's what it is in here, which pages of this document are Chapter 6? Let's see if it knows. It's not great at this. Okay, what's it going to say? Boy, it's moving a little slow this morning. Chapter 6, entitled Ethical, Legal, and Professional Issues in Family Therapy, starts on page 127 and goes through page 149, and you can view it here on page 127. So it's going to even give me a link. I'm going to follow it to see, do I need to hit Control to follow it, or Shift to follow it, or Alt to follow it? It's not letting me click any of those. All right, but it's saying 127 to 149. Now, I happen to know that's not correct. So I'm going to come back over here. All right, so in your AI Drive platform, if you just click on the name of one of your documents, it's going to split your screen and open it, the PDF format over here. Isn't that nice? So I'm going to actually click this up here, which is going to be my little sidebar that lets me see all the things. I'm going to scroll. Actually, let's see if it does a decent table of contents. Look, it did. That's wonderful. So I want to go to Chapter 6. There's 3, 4, 5, Chapter 6. Close my sidebar. All right, and this is on page 127 of the book itself, so it knows to look for this, right? The actual hard copy of this book, it starts on page 127. But in PDF format, because all of the beginning intro pages are also numbered, it's 150 through, let's see, there's 176, 175, or 174. 150 to 174 of the PDF document, and that's important to know because even though over here it did a good job of knowing the pages of the hard copy book, when I ask it questions, it's going to assume I mean the pages in the PDF document. So I need to know that this was, what was it, 150 to 174, I remember. All right, so we will be working with pages 150 to 174 of this document. All right, I'm going to just let it know what pages to be accessing. And it's asking now, do I want a summary of those pages? All right, so I do want a summary of those pages, but I don't just want any summary. I don't want it to just do whatever it wants to do. I want it to provide me a summary that is going to be impactful and helpful for me as a grad student studying therapy who needs to actually know the most valuable information in this chapter. I still want to walk away from this knowing what I need to know in order to do this job well. And so that's what I'm going to ask it. I'm going to say, provide a detailed, thorough summary of these pages. I'm going to tell it again, 150 to 174, that is relevant for a future mental health practitioner. because it knows what information to pull. Include all important names, events, and dates. I want to make sure it tells me those things. Also include all information that would be valuable to a practitioner working with these families. I also include, why not? Include all information that would be valuable to a practitioner working with these families. I don't even want to say all information. Include a detailed synopsis of all information that would be valuable to a practitioner working with families, because this is specifically about families. All right, so let's just see what it does. Here we go. And people are going to say, oh, but what if it leaves out really important things? So what I would say to that is do this, like for your first 2 or 3 chapters of the semester, go through this process and do both. Have it write you a summary and then read the whole chapter. And make sure that everything it gave you lines up with the chapter and then it didn't miss anything important. I do that every semester, and so far this thing does a really good job. It doesn't miss super important things. It's still going. Okay, so it looks like it gave me a summary of 150 to 165. I need it to go to 174, and it says if you'd like a summary of the remaining pages or a specific search within this range, feel free to ask. I do want a summary of those remaining pages, but this is not even close to thorough enough. The key topics discussed. All right, so here we go. This is not nearly thorough enough. For each key topic, I want to see key terms and their definitions, and a detailed analysis of how it applies to therapy work with clients. I'm sometimes a little bit, I don't want to say rude, but direct. All right, these are looking much, much better. Let's see. So this says it's a comprehensive and detailed summary from pages 161 to 165, which is just silly. That's not what I want. But it is very thorough. This one says it does say it's 150 to 174. Key topics and terms, ethical considerations, ethics, so it's defining it for me. Equitability, caring, application to therapy, and here's the application. Guidelines for ethical decision making, resources, code of ethics, educational and professional, meta-ethical, and application of therapy. Common ethical concerns, here's the most common ones, and how it applies to therapy. Legal issues in family therapy, giving me some definitions and some important cases, and then application. Managed care, application, professional identity, application, all the organizations that are important and how it applies. I like this. Let me come and look at this one. So this is starting with ethical obligations and the organizations. Identifying unethical behavior, steps to address. Oh, I like how detailed this is. Okay, so I'm gonna say, oof, this is long though. I like how detailed this is though. Key terms and definitions for legal issues, common law, statutory, administrative case law. See, all of these terms are going to be important and I want to make sure I have them. Okay. Key legal terms relevant. Minors, mature minors. Oof, this is a lot. Okay, this is the level of detail that I want over here. And you're like, oh, it's going to take just as long to do that as it would the whole chapter. No, it won't. I prefer this response. So do you see how it asked me? It gave me two options. It wants to learn from you, right? So it gave me two options here, but I know that it only did this for pages 161 through 165. So we're going to see construct a response that is exactly, construct a summary that is, we'll say precisely this thorough, but use all pages 150 through 174 to do so. Let's see if it can do it. $150 to $174. Okay, it's saying that it is. All right, so let's see what happens. We're going to let this run through. Detailed analysis. Okay. Implications for practice. Ethical decision making. Yep. There's the resources, implications for therapists, for actual practice. Common ethical concerns, detailed analysis. So I know that this chapter covers ethics and it covers law. So I'm looking for all of those things here. There we go. There's all those definitions. It's definitely missing some definitions because all the definitions for the different roles. So this is closer. But I still want all of the definitions. And I know some of you are thinking, we've been talking about this for a half an hour. You could have just read the chapter. Nope, that is false. Okay, this is almost sufficient. Please rewrite and include all important terms / definitions. Because it says strong focus on, but I want more because I liked that it gave me the definitions for what's a minor, what's an in-law, like those things have actual legal definitions that are going to matter for people working with families who are dealing with court situations like custody issues and things like that. I want that information. So we're going to just let it print its response here. Depending on your internet connection, this can take a while. Ethical principles, ethical concerns. See, this is already longer. This already has more of those definitions in it than the other one did. This even is, see, there's like bold print definitions even in these. Sexual boundaries, dual relationships, legal issues, malpractice, civil law, criminal law, statutory law, case law, administrative law. Okay, this is looking better. So it knows to pull words in bold print from the textbook and make sure that it defines them or at least puts them into context for me, which is wonderful. Managed care. It still didn't give me those terms. That's okay. This is pretty damn thorough. For internet therapy. I don't even remember seeing this section before. I must not have been paying attention. Oh, okay, so this happens sometimes. Every now and then, it's like, phew, this is a lot of work. Are you sure you want me to do this much work? And it has this button down here that says, it'll just stop in the middle, and it doesn't say, usually whenever it's done, it'll say, okay, I did it, what do you think, right? If it just stops in the middle and it doesn't give you that, look for this, continue generating. That means it got tired. So yes, I do want you to continue generating your response. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Like, what's it doing? All right. It's going to give me a conclusion. Okay. This is pretty good. We're just going to roll with this. All critical key terms. All right. We'll go with this. Where's the section that had section 4? I'm going to go ahead and say, you did not include all legal definitions in section 4. Please add the ones you missed. And we're going to see if it knows what it missed. And if you're just doing this and you haven't read the chapter or skimmed it, you're not going to know what it missed, right? And that's probably fine. The summary, the very first summary that it gave me is probably fine. It's probably enough, right? For what you need to be doing. I just saw a couple of definitions that I thought were interesting in its first response, and I want to make sure I get them. This is all fine. These are not the ones that I'm looking for. Durable power of attorney, custody. I mean, a lot of these we already know. But see, look, it's giving, oh, and it still didn't do those ones. That's okay though. But this is just section 4. I'm going to pretend that I didn't ask it this, because this is now getting to be really long. I'm going to let it finish though. Actually, no, I'm not. You can hit this little stop button down here and it'll stop at any point. I'm going to pretend I didn't ask it that. And we are going to go back to here. Okay, so this is the last one that it gave me. This was pretty thorough. It's got all 7 sections, and for each section it has its key terms defined and an analysis of how that applies to therapy. I actually liked this other one a little bit better. Wait, not this one. Was it this one? Yeah, I guess it was. All right, so we're going to skip through, and here we go. All right, this is the one that I liked. Okay, so here we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this whole thing, and I'm going to say, can you output this response, parentheses, paste that whole thing, close parentheses, as a PDF document. Okay, so if you don't know how to copy and paste, or I mean how to paste, it's Control V. So what I did is I found the response I wanted, because it wasn't the most recent one. If it was the most recent one, you could say, hey, can you output that response? And it knows to do the most recent one as a PDF document. In this case, I had to go find it, and I had to copy it right here, copy, and then paste it into here, and you paste using Control V. So can you output this response, open parentheses, Control V to paste it all in, close the parentheses, as a PDF document. And it should know that that's what I want it to do. All right, let's see if it is going to give it to me as a PDF. Let's see if it was smart. How much time are we at? 34 minutes? Yeah, not terrible. We're still, if we come in at less than 90, we're doing good. because these chapters take me about 90 minutes to read. And I know for the first 10 or 15 minutes of this, I was just jibber jabbering. Wasn't even in here doing this. I've been doing this for what, maybe 10 minutes? Boy, it is going slow this morning. I need to reheat my coffee. Wowzers. Yikes, you guys. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to show you while this is doing its thing? We can come over here and I can show you some cool other features of this for a couple of minutes. So, continue from page 174. No, so up here, if I had this window open huge, let me see if I drag this, right? The bigger I have this, the more of this you can see, and I think you could even do this and make that nice and big. So I can see this big if I wanted to. And it's going to open if I have, let me click on chapter 5, it's going to open chapter 5 here, and it's going to be in tabs just like it would be in your browser. This summary of chapter 5 right here is what I printed out, or what it created for me in my last little session. I'm going to close this. All right, and so other cool things this can do is you can just hit chat on this. So let's say I wanted to work with this document. You can just hit chat and it will actually open a GPT. Look, it's GPT mini. I want to do the real one. And see, it has all these options too. You don't have to use GPT. These are all different AI models that provide responses a little bit differently. And if you want, you can play with these and try them and see what works for you. So I am doing this one right here. It's my preference. Oh, here you go. The selected model can only process 140 out of these total pages. To process all the pages, consider switching to a model with a higher page limit, such as Gemini Flash 1.5. All right, well, let's see. Can only process 140. Oh, okay. Nope, there it goes. So it would let me do it. So I can actually do something in here too. Let's see. Let me just say summarize chapter 6, because I haven't played with Gemini. Let me come back over here and see if it finished up our thing. Still analyzing. Oh my. Oh, what has happened? Analysis errored. Wow. I must have given it a headache. The selected model can only process 169. Okay, so let's just see if, so chapter 6, that's not anywhere near in depth enough. So let's see here. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me come, oh look, it's done. Your detailed summary is ready as a PDF document. You can download it using this link. You just click on your link, it says starting download, and I'm gonna say chapter 6 summary. There it is. Okay, so I'm gonna come back in here, and we can come back and look at this later. I'm gonna close out of that. And I'm gonna hit new up here, and I'm gonna put my chapter 6 summary in this same folder. File upload, chapter 6 summary, and let it pull it in. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna let that upload and come back over here. Now this was my chapter 6 summary. This down here was my chapter 5 summary, so let me change this. Chapter 5 summary, family therapy. Okay, and now I want to do a new one because I don't want them to get mixed up. I want these to stay as they are, and let me just archive them. So you can hit the little 3 dots and hit archive, and it's going to get them off your main feed. I don't want those right there. So let's do a new one. It is moving slow today, you guys. All right, let me open a new thing here and then do this. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, and I want to link 2 files. I will link 2 files for you to use. And I just always let it know what I'm about to do, because if I just give it 1 file and I plan to give it 2, I'll give it the 1 and it'll immediately start doing things with that 1, and I'm like, we're not done yet. All right, so here we go. So now I'm gonna do a copy link for chapter 5, copy it in, give it a couple spaces here, and copy the link for chapter 6 and stick that in. All right. Okay, so it's saying now, do I want a summary of them or do I want something else? All right, and so this is where now let me preface this by saying I will read these documents, right? The reason I created these is so that I can go and read these summaries and get an overview of the chapter without having to read every single word of the chapter. If you have time, read the chapter. You will get the most out of it. I have to take a comprehensive exam at the end of my time in grad school, answering questions based on every textbook in the program. I need to actually know what's in the book. If I have time, I read every word of the textbook. Sometimes you don't have time, and that's what this is really good for. Now, after you have read the chapters, okay, I can go in and say, we are going to create a discussion post response. Create a discussion board post based on these documents. Okay. And then I'm going to go and, let's see, can I do the same window? Yep. I'm going to go and look at this week's discussion assignment. Now, this is verging on iffy here, what's happening, because you haven't watched me read these chapters or read these summaries. I promise you that I'm not going to just sit here and do this as my assignment. Uh-oh. Oh Lord. Module 3 is not open yet. That's fine. So let's just pretend that we're working with week 2. And that one was about a video. All right, well, let's just pretend. Let's just make something up. Okay, so he says, great, we can structure the discussion board post around key points or insights from each chapter. How would you like to approach it? Would you prefer a summary of the key themes and concepts, or is a specific topic or question you want to focus on for the discussion post? Now, what you're not going to do is copy the instructions for the discussion post and paste them in here and have it write a post for you. That is an excellent way to get kicked out of school. And you're not learning what you need to learn. Please don't do that. It's going to write in weird AI language anyway. Your professors are going to know. I mean, no, that's not what we're doing. Please don't hear me say that we're cheating and having AI write discussion posts for us. But I might do something like this. Let's say that the discussion prompt is after reading chapter 5. So chapter 5 was on multicultural issues. So how to work with families from different cultural backgrounds. And that's everything from race issues to ethnicity to sexual orientation to gender issues to economic differences, disability. There's a million things, right? Those are all cultural diversity. So that's what chapter 5 was on. And chapter 6, as you saw, was on ethics and legal issues. So let's say that the prompt is describe or discuss a situation in which you could see yourself having to adjust your treatment plan to accommodate for a particular cultural concern with a family. And it's very vague. And then I would say, okay, I want to, let's say that the concept I want to talk about is that I usually practice a thing called ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. That's my preferred go-to method. But let's say in a particular situation, I realize this is not going to work because I'm working with a family that has a child with that is autistic, and there's going to be some comprehension barriers around some of the concepts for that particular member of the family. All right, and so that's what I want to discuss in my post. So this is what I'm going to say. In my discussion post, I will discuss how to alter my standard treatment method, which is acceptance and commitment therapy, to accommodate a family that has a 15-year-old autistic son with communication barriers. What are some considerations I should keep in mind as I craft my post? Okay, so this is giving you food for thought. I'm not saying write a post for me. I'm saying what are some things that I might consider. In crafting your post, it's important to consider several key factors to ensure that your treatment approach is appropriately adapted to accommodate the needs of this family. Here are things to keep in mind. Understand the communication barriers. All right, so children with autism have unique communication styles, including nonverbal or the use of augmentative and alternative communication devices. Understanding how they communicate is crucial to adapting a therapy. Clear and simple language. Adapt the language to be more concrete, avoiding abstract concepts that might be difficult for them to understand. And then visual aids are going to be super important. Adaptation of the core processes. In the standard model, mindfulness plays a key role. With autistic individuals, mindfulness exercises may need to be adapted to suit their sensory sensitivities or attention levels. You see how it's giving me very specific tips and information and guidance. Even like if I was already a therapist in real life and I'm used to practicing with ACT, and I have a family that has an autistic member, and it's the first time I've worked with someone with those kinds of barriers, and I ask this question, I'm getting really valuable insights here and information that I may not have thought of on my own, right? So this is brilliant help. This is wonderful help for me. They're like, as you work with mindfulness, consider doing these things. As you're working on cognitive diffusion, consider these things. As you're working on this, consider these things. Family-centered approach, how to collaborate better, right? Sensory sensitivities, things to consider that are going to matter. How to be more flexible. Ethical and cultural considerations, which Chapter 5 was talking about. By integrating these considerations, your adapted treatment approach using ACT can address the specific needs of the family. Would you like to extract additional insights related to these concepts from the chapters you provided? Why not, right? I'm about to create a discussion post. I've already got tons of good information. They don't really mention anything that indicates to me that they pulled this recommendation specifically from the chapter. Now, they probably did because that's what I gave them. But just in case they didn't, I'm just going to say yes, extract some additional insights from the chapter or from the 2 chapters. Why not? And so now we're at 49 minutes. So let's say that it took 10 minutes, I don't know, I haven't watched this back, to start doing this. Let's say that 10 minutes into the video is when I started with the very beginning of, here's my textbook, give me a summary. And we worked through all of that and we did all the things. All the way to, now I need to make a discussion post about these chapters, help me with some thinking, help me get my thoughts in order, help give me some ideas. Okay, let's see what it said. Based on the content from 5 and 6, here are key insights you can integrate. Cultural and family dynamics, Chapter 5 insights, cultural sensitivity, family involvement and treatment. ethical considerations from chapter 6, and here they are. This is brilliant. These insights will help you frame a robust, ethical, and culturally sensitive discussion post. So not only now do I have a really great starting place of information, so many things have happened right here. I have a really great starting place to craft my discussion post. I've got some really good tips. It's got my mind going. I'm like, oh my gosh, I do have so much to say about this. Now I can create a discussion post that is informative for my peers, but also I have just learned a ton, right? I have just learned a ton that I didn't know. So assuming that I read the summary for chapter 5, which I did, assuming that I read the summary for chapter 6, which I haven't yet, you just watched me create it, but I will. And now I'm reading this, right? I've asked it, like I've told it, this is what my discussion is going to be about, and I'm reading through the information that it's giving me. I'm learning so much. This is going to make me so much better prepared if I have an exam. Like I have actual application information here that, like, these are insights that you won't get just from reading the chapter and halfway through your eyes are glazing over, you're not really absorbing it anyway. You're reading this is informative, it's interesting because you're making it real, and you can do that with any of these things. So if you have a super dry information, if you're in a statistics class, for example, and you give it a chapter, here's chapter 5 from my statistics book, and just say, can you summarize this for me? See what it comes up with, and then say, can you say this in a way that makes it understandable for somebody who is 19 and just out of high school? And it will do that. And then say, hey, how would I ever need this in real life? And it will give you things to read that do this for you. It will open your eye and you'll go, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I see. It's a brilliant teaching tool. And so it's given me great insights from chapter 5, insights from chapter 6. I know more now about this subject than I did going in, and I probably know more now than I would have after just reading those chapters if I read every single word, because now it's come to life for me. So I'm not saying to AI, please write my discussion post for me. What a terrible idea, because I will have learned nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I want to be a good therapist. I want to know what I need to know. I will have learned nothing if I just have it do that work for me. But having it as like a bonus teacher, oh my gosh, the possibilities. It's brilliant. All right, and so look, it's even giving like where it pulled some data from, pages 2 and 3. That's wrong. I don't care. I'm not going to click on those. This just has got my little brain wheels turning. This is amazing. Okay, so I feel like that is, man, wow. I mean, that was impressive even for me, and I use this all the time. What a cool thing to do. All right, and so then you would use this to make your discussion post. And let's say, just for grins, that you have one of those professors that's like, hey, cite your information, right? You need to have a reference. Cool, this is what I would do. And I'm in a behavioral science, so we use APA. You're gonna have to look this, actually you don't have to look it up, but you would just tell it to do whatever. Okay, draft a complete and accurate APA 7 reference list entry for these chapters. And it would have been in trees. Perfect. Yep. And it'll tell you here, replace year with the publication year of the book, replace publisher with the actual publisher's name. If you have the complete page range for chapter 6, put it in. Don't you have access to that information? Usually it does a pretty good job of pulling all this information from the early pages of the book, but I only gave it chapters 5 and 6. Okay, I will give you the link. Link to the full book so you can get that data. Okay, and then I'm going to come over and get the link for the full book because I only gave it chapters 5 and 6, so it doesn't know. There we go. And I have worked at the Writing Center before. I'm pretty well versed in APA 7. I could have created this reference entry myself pretty easily, but for those of you who aren't super well versed with doing this, so this is like your early days and you're new at this, this is such a good way to get some help and to learn how to do it, right? So it did. It created me a chapter 5 entry and a chapter 6 entry, and I'm just glancing at this and I can tell you that it is not correct fully, because this is where that PDF issue gets interesting. These page numbers are the page numbers of the PDF document, not of the textbook itself. So you would want to go back in, open up the book where you can see it. Okay, go to chapter 5. Whoops, let me just get my table of contents. Boy, there's 7. Let me just go up from there because, okay, let's do this. All right, so there's 6. 6 is 127 to 151. So right here for chapter 6, here you would put in 127 to 161. You just need to make sure that your page numbers are correct, because the PDF version of your textbook is probably not fully aligned with the page numbers in the hard copy of the book. But other than that, these entries are correct. Okay, so it just gave you your little reference entry. And what you also can do is craft your discussion post and then paste your post that you wrote back into here and have it give you grammar tips, check for spelling errors, and put your citations where they might need to go. So you can put it in and say, where would you recommend, so based on, so I would say, based on the 2 documents I provided at the beginning of our chat, and in parentheses I would say chapters 5 and 6, close parentheses, where in this discussion post would it make sense for me to put in text citations, and see what it recommends. You need to make sure it's accurate, right? Make sure it's correct. Don't put in-text citations after something that's your own thought. But if it's a piece of information that came from the material in the book, you need to cite that. And so if it tells you to cite it, and you can tell that's not information you already had in your head when you started writing this, it's information you got from this chapter, cite that. It needs to be cited. And probably it will give you those correctly. And over time, you will get better at knowing how to do that and at doing it, and you won't need the help. But Grammarly can do this for you. Microsoft Word, if you know how to use the reference thing, although it's not great, can do that for you. And so there's not any difference here. The Writing Center would do it for you. Where in here do I need a citation? They would go, you need it here, you need it here, and they might go, hey, this sentence right here, did you already think of that on your own before you read the information for this? Nope, then you need it here, right? Everything that was not, if you didn't already know it when you walked onto campus on day 1, it gets cited. It came from somewhere else that wasn't you. All right, where are we at here? We're just under an hour. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you guys, I know this costs money. Do what you can with the free version if you really are in a bind, but I just can't say enough about how much this has helped me. I put all of my textbooks in here. I have this help me with so many things. You know what? I want to show you one more thing before I go that this can do. All right, just for grins, I want to show you what it can do. And this is only true if you're, unfortunately, if you're using the paid version, because it has access to current internet data. All right, I'm going to say, give me 5 academic resources. You know what? I'm going to be real specific. Journal articles related to multicultural issues in family counseling. And not just academic journal articles. I want to say legitimate, authentic. I want to be really sure it doesn't just make stuff up in family counseling. And that's all I'm going to say. Searching the web, here it goes. Browsing apa.org. It searched 4 different sites. It tells me it searched 4 sites. And it's come up with 5 articles. All right, so this first one is Uncommon Strategies for a Common Problem, Addressing Insight into Multicultural Issues Within Diverse Families. Great. Revisioning Family Therapy, Race, Culture, and Gender in Clinical Practice. Great. 2000, 2008, 2016, 2013, 2009. That's a reasonable thing. But sometimes your professor will want only things in the last 10 years. So let's see. Give me only articles from the past, come on, 10 years. Okay, so it's going to redo it and give me only newer articles. Perfect. All right, and so then let's see, this is microaggressions and perceptions of cultural humility in counseling. Cultural humility as an alternative to cultural competence. Therapy with families in China, cultural factors. What's this one? Critical patriotism, incorporating nationality into MFT education and training. Interesting. Using experiential tasks to enhance sensitivity among MFT trainees. All right, so these are, I feel like these were a little bit better, some of them. But anyway, you've got some good things here. And then whenever you're like, okay, time to do it, you just copy that. And then let's go to Google Scholar. If you haven't used this before, good to know that this exists. I'm just going to paste that whole thing in here and it should get it. And then if it is a pay, so this one it's going to let me just open the PDF, but if there's a paywall and it won't let you access this, go through your university's library. You should have access to it. Yeah, see, it's going to lock me out. But if I access that from my university's library, I should be able to find it. And hopefully at some point along the way, you've learned how to do that. So see, this is University Library. I would go in there and then I would just paste the title. So go to my university's library and just search this title right there. Microaggressions and perceptions of cultural humility in counseling. And then your university library should be able to find it. But anyway, you saw that that's accurate, right? That's a correct, legitimate, authentic article that it pulled up for me. And I got a list of newer ones and a list of probably a little bit better ones. But anyway, and you could say, give me 10. You could say, give me 30. You could even say, this is kind of a trick of the trade. Let's say that I want to focus on number 2. I think this is going to be super right up my alley for the research paper I'm doing. Then I would go like this. Give me 10. Okay, actually I'm going to be more specific. The 10 most relevant reference entries from the reference list in article number 2. You could actually just go look up article 2 and get that reference list, which would be a better idea because you can actually like choose the ones you want based on their titles and whether it seems like they would be relevant. Here are 10 relevant references from the article. Okay, and so that's the original article and it's going to give me 10 articles that they referenced when they wrote their article. It's brilliant. Brilliant. And it'll be accurate. I mean, you should always go and check. You should always go and check. But what a beautiful time to be alive, right? Can you believe it? I used to have to go to a library with a card catalog and flip through cards and find what I needed. It is a wonderful time to be alive. All right, we'll cut this off now at an hour. thanks for hanging around there. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any other questions, stick them in the comments. If you have ideas and tips and things that I missed, put them in the comments. Again, we are not cheating. We are finding ways to make AI work for us so that we can be successful students. I think that's going to be it. That's going to do it for me. You guys have a wonderful day. Good luck this semester, and see you next time.